Hello and welcome to another Wolftime gaming video. Today I'm going to be painting up these two Imperial Guard Sentinels. Well, I'll paint one, you'll get the idea. There's no point covering both of them. But I know this is a bit of a random video thrown in the middle of everything else, but I've had these, picked them up off a friend of mine, and I've wanted to get them painted for a little while. I've got an old Genestealer Cults Army that I'm hoping gets better in 9th. We'll wait and see and until the codex comes out on that one, because I don't play it very well at the moment, but I'm hoping they will, and then these can join the ranks of the Genestealer cults. Before we get started on the painting though, as usual, let's get that kettle on. Okay, so let's get started. And as you can see, we've got all the weapons laid out. I have magnetised these so they can drop on and off the bodies really easily, and give them all a spray. Now, I've avoided the contrast sprays this time, and I've gone back to using a black spray purely because I'm going to be dry brushing the whole model, which you'll see in a second, with a silver to make the painting a little bit easier and speed things up. But yeah, the first step, as usual, give it all a really good base coat. In this instance, I've used the Games Workshop Chaos Black. I've then gone into dry brushing, as I've just alluded to, and essentially I'm just dry brushing the whole thing with lead belcher. Like every part of the model is going to get dry brushed with this. Now what this does is it covers everything, because he's a walker, because he's metal. You know, if I miss any bits when I'm painting him, or I'm flying through trying to paint him really quickly, you know, you miss bits and pieces. It doesn't matter, because essentially it stays metal, it stays silver, and also this works really well with the next stage, which you'll see in a second. So we're on to that next stage now, which is dry brushing again, but this time I'm using Xandri dust. Now all I'm doing is dry brushing the cab as such, the actual top part of the walker, the sentinel, and there's a couple of bits on his legs as well that I've picked out, just so he's not got just, you know, silver legs essentially. I wanted this colour to blend in a little bit. Now as you can see, because I'm dry brushing, you can see that silver and the darker colour underneath, which makes it look really worn, makes it look a little bit war torn. I mean, you think these guys get into battle and they'd paint them up, you know, whatever planet they're on. In this instance, you know, they've gone with like a deserty sort of sand colour, and it's just thrown straight over the top of the old paint scheme, which is why you can see it through. Now what I'm doing here is just picking out the details in the windows with a black paint. Now I've just used Corvus black for this, but you can use any black you want to. I mean, a lot of people use blues and things to make it look like lenses, but I wanted to look darker because you're looking into the darkness inside, so I wanted to stick with that black sort of a colour for those. The next stage is then picking out a few of the details. Now I know we're going Genestealer cults with these, but as a lot of you will be aware, Genestealer cults hide within the guard units on the planet, within any of the units on the planet there. So and then appear essentially when they're ready to. So they've still got the Imperial Aquila and things like that on there. So I've just picked out those details, and also there's a few bits just on the legs, just that I can add this golden colour to, which I'm using Retributor armour, and a really bright colour, but it almost looks like a brass sort of a colour as well, and works really well, you know, shiny brass, or that's what I've got in my head anyway. So there's a few bits on the legs I've picked out there. Then on to a red colour, which is Mephiston red, just on the two sort of cables on the legs, just to add a little bit of colour, something a little bit different, because the whole model was starting to sort of blend in with itself, and I wanted a little bit of colour just to stick out. And there's a little light just on the front of the cab on this model as well. Now there's also some bits and pieces I can pick out on the weapons. There's some cabling, some little dots that might be little lights and things that are just on different ones of the weapons. You can see I'm picking out them there on the flamer. The missiles in the missile pack, or the rockets, just in there, you just touching a little bit of red paint on those, and this makes them stand out from the rest of it really, and makes it a little bit different. Now the plasma gun itself, I wanted this to look quite shiny, so what I've done, I've actually gone with a Corax white base coat, just on the actual, you know, the plasma area, I suppose, where you usually see that glow. And I'm going to go with a blue with this one. And I've got an old Gulliman blue glazed paint that I use for lots of different bits and pieces, but one of the main things I use it for is plasma. Now, when you put this over the top of a white paint or a cream paint or anything like that, you'll notice straight away it drops into the recesses and makes it look like it's glowing. Now that looks absolutely fantastic, or at least I think it looks fantastic, and looks great when you're wanting it to have that glowing effect. And you can just see straight away it looks really, really good. It's dropped around the base, and yeah, it looks really effective. Now the lights, I wanted a similar sort of glow, and I thought about going with the blues and things like I've done with lots of my other vehicles. But in this instance, I've actually gone with an orange. So I've used a base coat of Jaquero orange. I've just painted the 3 sort of lights on the top of the actual Sentinel itself, and any other bits and pieces that you might see around might want to glow. You know, this one's got a light on the front of his cab as well, so just pops a little bit of Jaquero orange on there. And then what I'm going to do is get a layer paint called Troll Slayer orange and just put it in the center of the Jaquero orange. Now what this does, it sort of brightens the center of that area up, the lighter area, so it makes it look like it's lighter in the middle. So it gives a sense of a lighter, at least I think it does, and I think it looks quite effective. So the next stage is using some Nuln Oil. It's to coat literally everything. Now, apart from the lights, of course, that we've just got nice and shiny, and we don't want to, don't want to dull them down. But everywhere else is coated completely with Nuln Oil. And Nuln Oil is an absolutely fantastic sort of shade paint that you can just stick on anything at all, and it really dulls down the colour. And I think it gives it really sort of a metallic sort of an effect straight away. And a lot of people use it for shading and things, and just will pin wash and stuff like that. Not me. I want to stick it across the whole thing. Now there are army painter equivalents that you can pick up that look good, but this, I wanted to really stick with the Nuln Oil with this one. I think it looks quite effective. Basing wise, I've just put a couple of little rocks just on the base there, as you can see, a little bit of super glue, a few little rocks that I picked up in the past. I've got a box of these things, and just wash off the dust and then stick them straight onto the base. Clump them together, because rocks don't tend to be on their own. Sometimes they get, you know, little clumps of rocks and things in the wilderness. And then I've covered the whole thing with Xandri dust. Now you can see straight away, just the comparison between the cab and the base. Now these were both painted the exact same colour, but the cab's dry brushed and the base is actually painted. I know I put the Nuln Oil over the top as well, but you can see what a difference it makes just by using these different techniques, and it's an absolutely fantastic way to really show that as well. Then straight over the top of the Xandri dust now, I'm getting some of the old Games Workshop Agrellan Earth that I've got. I'm throwing that down across the whole thing essentially. It's a really good base sort of stuff. You could do this however you want to. Me, I wanted to put it on quite thick, so it looks a bit like a desert or like sandy type stuff. I'm going to add some little grass tufts on in a second. So obviously you leave that to dry, stick a few grass tufts down. I always pop a little bit of super glue down as well, just to make sure that they actually stay in place, because a lot of these do fall apart, and the PVA I don't think holds it down too well. And then I popped a little bit of PVA around, and I've got some little bit of flock that I've got as well, similar sort of colour to the grass tufts, just so we've got a little bit of variance in the heights and things. And just put a little bit of this around, just so it started to look a little bit maybe like a tropical area, maybe a bit deserty, that it's got a few grasses growing around it and that sort of thing. But there we go, that's the model's complete. And you see I've used exactly the same technique on both of them, and I think they look absolutely amazing. It almost makes me want to paint up a guard unit or a militia unit or something, but I'm not. I'm going to stick these in my Genestealer Cults Army. What I might do in the future is spray on like a Genestealer Cult, you know, spray paint symbol onto the side or something. But I think they look really good as they are, and I like the fact that they're sort of hiding in plain view essentially from the Imperial Guard, from the militia on the planet, and then they're all of a sudden they're just going to turn on them and try and take over. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Make sure you do hit that like button, it really does help. Hit the subscribe as well, to see any future videos, because I've got lots planned. But otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.